We're starting up the live stream. Should be ready in just a second. It's going to be a very uneventful meeting, so I hope you don't have very high expectations. Can you all hear me? We got a thumbs up from Brad, okay?
Yeah.
Had Wayne's phone join and leave a couple times here, so we may be having technical difficulties. Meeting is being recorded and streamed, so I'll just do a quick little intro before we start, and that's just we're here to do a public hearing, and that's it on this refinance for Utopia. Yeah, I've got Nate on. Oh, we've got Wayne back coming back into the meeting.
Hey guys, I'm finally on. Sorry, I have some sort of technical difficulty here with Zoom.
All right. Good to have you. This will be a quick and easy one today. It's a necessity to make sure we're compliant with everything, have this public hearing. We don't need a quorum today. We simply would need to have someone do a motion for the public hearing, and I can give some background into the reason for it and all that if you'd like, but we just have the welcome and introductions and then the public hearing and then adjourn on the agenda for today. All right, so Wayne, if you want to call the meeting to order, and then are you still there? We lost you. Darn. I'm going to call him. He's just texted me, asking me to call him. So, well, as long as we get his audio through here, we should be good. Hey, Wayne.
Sorry, I've logged in like 4 times, and it's wanting me to do all this password and app update stuff, and keeps kicking me off. I think so. Maybe it'd be better if I'm just on the phone with you.
Okay, I think this works as long as can I just get someone confirmed you can hear Wayne?
Yeah, we can hear him good.
Okay, we got a thumbs up, so we're good to go. This works.
Okay, good.
So we just have welcome introductions as the first agenda item. We don't need to really do much there, and then public hearing and then adjourn is all we've got on the agenda. We're happy to provide some background into the public hearing before we open it, but that's what we got on the docket for today. Should be short and sweet.
All right, well, and if you wouldn't mind kind of taking us through the items specifically, I don't have an agenda in front of me either, so you or Krista or Roger, just go ahead and do that.
Okay, we'll consider it the meeting called to order here, and then for the public hearing, this is a refinance of the Utopia bonds. Just to go into the specific wording here, it's a public hearing to receive input from the public with respect to the issuance and sale of not more than $230 million aggregate principal amount of sales tax and telecommunications revenue funding bonds, series 2022, and any potential economic impact of public infrastructure to be financed with the proceeds of the bonds we have on the private sector and related matters. With that, we have the location of the public hearing here at our office in Murray. It's been noticed. This is just being compliant with the law on this. We have gone to market and received orders for those bonds. We've received what we consider to be very favorable terms, expecting about $8.3 million of proceeds in addition to what's needed to cover the debt and the payments on it. But you know, we need to have this public hearing just in compliance. Do you want to provide any background on Laura? We have Laura Lewis in the room and Brad Patterson online.
I'll turn to Brad.
Let's go to Brad. Do you have some comments on this?
Yeah, thanks, Roger. This is Brad Patterson, Gilmore and Bell. We're bond counsel. The Utah Municipal Bond Act requires that in order to issue bonds for new money purposes, we have to have a public hearing and give the public to have input with respect to the issuance of the bonds, and then also to have input with respect to any impact that the project would have on the private sector. We'll have a meeting this week, and they'll have a meeting also next week as well. We'll have two different public hearings just to make sure that we're dotting all of our I's and crossing all of our T's. With that, just if there's any members of the public, I don't know if Roger, if you want to open it up for comment. Once they have a chance to have that input, then we can go ahead and close the meeting and be on our way and on to Thanksgiving festivities.
I don't have any other comment. Do we need a motion to? Yeah, we need a motion to open the public hearing. And the board members.
Wayne, this is Tom Peterson with Brigham City. I'd make a motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second. This is Zach Watson.
Okay, Zach, thank you very much. Krista?
Zach?
Yes.
We don't need a majority. We're just going to record those votes. So.
Tom?
Yes.
And Wayne?
Yes.
That's it. That's all that's on.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
all right, then. Sorry, go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, I would say, I'd say we consider it open. I just want to show the room here. We do not have anyone from the public here in the room.
And I have not received any comments.
Okay. So then close the public hearing. Do we need a vote? Yeah. So do we need a motion to close the public hearing?
Yeah, motion to close the public hearing.
Motion. Yep.
Okay,
I'd make a motion we close the public hearing. Tom with Brigham City.
All right, thank you, Tom. And Zach, can I have a second from you?
Second.
All right, all in favor, or you don't need do you need a roll call, Krista, or not?
I got Zach's vote yes, Tom's vote, and
Yes.
you.
Okay, and yes.
So again, just some wrap-up comments on that. Appreciate board members willing to jump on here and do this. It's something we have to do. It's compliant. It is important, though. This is a pretty big win for Utopia as an organization to get out of the swaps. We terminated those swaps. We are done. We're going to say beyond today and the next public hearing, we're never going to use the word swap again at Utopia.
The swap providers wanted to know whether we wanted to terminate or leave the option to go enter into other swaps, and I basically said over my dead body, will we be doing any more swaps?
Okay, real quick, if I may, can you speak to just the amount that we are getting from this? I mean, there was a discussion that we were going to get about $1 million, and that it seems potentially to get 8 times that. That seems great news. I just was curious if you can give a little bit of context to that.
So the markets for this bond it was really tricky because we're looking at kind of the timing of 2 markets that don't always go the way you need them to. So you've got the municipal, the tax exempt market, which, you know, the index that is kind of governs that is MMD. It's published by Thompson. And, you know, it has factors in the municipal market that move it one way or another. And then we had to deal with LIBOR, and we had a taxable piece of the swap, as well as a tax-exempt piece of the swap. And so it really is a matter of those 2 markets coming together in a way that is favorable for Utopia. And for years and years and years, they have been so widely divergent that your, mark-to-market out of the money on these swaps has been in excess, at times, in excess of $100 million. So we were able to hit the market. We'll give some, thanks to KeyBank Capital Markets for wanting to step the pricing up to this week. It is the first week in my career of Thanksgiving week that I've priced a bond Thanksgiving week. Usually it's pretty quiet, and they will tell you don't price bonds this week. And oh, hello. And now you can see. Because of economic news related to inflation that came out a couple of weeks ago, and the sentiment was, okay, things are starting to slow down a little bit in terms of the Fed, continue pushing for rate increases. Everyone still believes that they'll increase rates when they meet in December, but they're starting to think maybe they won't increase as much or as many times January, February, March. So investors that have had their cash on the sidelines, pulled money out of tax-exempt bond funds, started to think, oh, maybe I better get in before, rates start to come down. And so you've seen a lot more cash come back into the market. And they said, jump now because it's a light week, and investors that are out there will be, able to pay more attention to this. And so we rallied. We weren't planning on pricing until next week. So we all rallied, including the swap advisor, because he had to help us with the swap termination. So we priced the bonds, and then, that was kind of one leg of this transaction, if you will, and we knew what the interest rate was on the new bonds, but we didn't know what the swap termination would be. At the time that we, initially struck the rate on the new bonds, to give you an idea of the detail fund, we thought we would be able to generate about 8.6 or 8.7 million. By the time we had the 2 swaps terminated, because the swap market was moving away from us, we lost a couple $100,000. But we were able to do all of that within probably a half an hour's time, and arrive at this great spot. So we're all ecstatic. And again, as we met a couple of months ago, I was saying, are you prepared to do this and get rid of the transaction if it's a cost? And here we have, great savings, and that 8.3 million is above all the cost of issuance that you're paying to get this transaction done.
Hey, Laura, could you kind of give them a range of how this has fluctuated over the last 2 months of what this 8 million number could have been? Tell them what some of the goalposts were depending on what day we did the refinancing.
Yeah. So when we were watching this as we, moved along, and it moved, quite radically. There was a point in time when I thought we would only be able to deliver about $400,000 in savings. And at that time, I'm like, okay, at least it's savings, right? Then, we had a point where it was, about 3 million. And then I think the high point was, butting up against that 8.7, 8.8, where we thought we could strike yesterday, and we didn't quite hit that. but it has moved all over the place, and literally within, you know, I mean, when you terminate swaps, it's like down to the minute that they strike that swap termination. And it, like I say, yesterday, we were just like, oh, we've lost another basis point, we lost another basis point, lost another basis point, and it costs, you know, a significant amount of money. So the fact that we were able to lock it in with $8.3 million in savings to Utopia so that you can, you know, connect more, build more, earn more money without raising those pledge agreements has been phenomenal. It was also a very heavy lift for, you know, your staff here at Utopia relative to their tax matters that, you know, Brad can attest to that made me a little testy. I apologize for that, and we'll keep apologizing for that. But I know it was a heavy lift for
Sorry.
his team, certainly a heavy lift for Jason. I mean, to give you some idea, we were out like, not I, Gilmore, Bell, Jason, they were out digging through boxes in your warehouse to find, you know, documentation that was necessary to make sure that we could, you know, get ourselves comfortable with the tax exempt nature of these bonds. Because remember, roughly half, 40% of your outstanding bonds were taxable. So we had to do a lot of work in that regard. Your staff really, you know, stepped it up for that. This has been a very heavy lift. The rating, you know, the rating agency initially told us effectively we can't rate this. I'm like, what? You know, they wanted to put it in their electric utility department for rating. I mean, it was a battle to get them to rate it. And when they finally did, they, you know, caught the vision. And part of the reason this was given such a great rating, you'll all be happy to know, is because of the statewide tax sharing formula. They looked at a weak link. You know, I knew they were going to look at the weak link because there's no effective cross-collateralization. And so I thought, okay, it's going to be one of the smaller cities, and they're going to be worried about concentration risk or whatever. Well, what came to our aid is a statewide sharing formula, and there were 5 cities, I can't remember, Terry, Tremont were 2 of them, that they identified as weak links, but the weak links are AA minus, and that's a pretty strong weak link. So, you know, that helped us in terms of the, you know, interest rate on the bond. So really everything kind of came together with a lot of people doing a lot of very heavy lifting.
If I may add comment to that, I apologize for everybody for kind of chuckling there. I didn't realize I wasn't on mute, but I was thinking back to all the years I've known Laura and all the years I've known Brad, and I think that's probably happened on more than one bond issue across the years. But great leadership and great work on everybody's part. Really appreciate everything you guys always do, both to Laura and Brad, and of course the staff, everybody that was involved in this. And yes, I finally figured out my Zoom thing. I'm back on, so thanks for your patience for that too. Okay, Roger.
I'll jump ahead and answer the next question we would expect, which is, well, now what? What do we do with that money? Normally, as you know, we're coming back and issuing new debt at UIA to fund our growth and expansions. This gives us an opportunity to put some of the new revenue at Utopia rather than at UIA, which will help with the debt payments. You know, as each year we're coming back and budgeting more and more to be paid for by Utopia and UIA. So our intention is we have a lot of projects queued up in front of us that we need to do, such as like UEN projects and business builds and other things. It's our intention to use these funds instead of UIA funds to build some of that, and then the corresponding revenues would come to Utopia and allow Utopia to take a bigger portion of the debt. So it's kind of to take $8.3 million and turn it into 15 to 20 or so, and put that in the form of recurring revenues, so that rather than just a one-time, you know, partial relief of debt service for, you know, half of the payments of 1 year, which is about that, what that amounts to, we would take on a smaller portion of the debt payment, but spread out over 20 years plus perpetually, and provide far more debt relief to the cities. Now, other things going on at UIA and Utopia have grown our revenues and allowed us to budget more and more each year towards the debt relief. But certainly this is a little, you know, shot in the arm to help us increase that amount. Now we just feel like that's the the better benefit to the cities, and better use of the funds, especially where we do have good business and revenue opportunities in front of us that we would need to be issuing debt for anyways. So to be able to do that, create the revenues and not have that debt tied to it, is a very good use of these funds. So that's our intention. It's been what we've been doing with funds. The last time UIA had kind of an injection of cash with the RUS settlement money, you know, that money was used to go do business builds. It did actually do a city project that built out Perry. And then the revenues from that did come in at Utopia. And at that point, it was, you know, to get us from an operational deficit up to more of a break-even situation at Utopia on the operational cost. But that was it's kind of a similar situation in the sense that it was new money at Utopia as opposed to UIA, and resulted in a better, you know, increased revenue position for the organization. So that's where we're at. It's great news. Yesterday was a very good day for Utopia, one of our better days, I would say, in our entire history. Nobody will really understand that, you know, when you go back to your councils and in your cities and be like, what is this? Okay, a refinance, you know, no big deal. But getting out of that structure of the swaps, it was a huge win. This does give us an opportunity in 10 years to call on that and to refinance. Potentially, if interest rates were to go down, there's additional savings we could get out of this. You know, that was something that always came up of when interest rates went down. Could we refinance Utopia bonds? It's like, no, we can't, because the penalty on the swaps would have been, you know, $80 million or 100. I mean, it got really excessive as interest rates went down. It worked against us. And so the situation of interest rates coming up put us in a position where we could do a restructuring of this and not pay enormous penalties. I mean, we paid, but the benefit was greater than the penalty. So we're very fortunate that it came out that way, but it'd be great if we didn't do this. We had to unravel the index or the swap because the index was going away anyways. But even in this sort of a structure, we weren't in a position to refinance with lower interest rates. So to have that option 10 years from now will be hopefully a really good benefit to us. So anyways, lots of good reasons to do this. Came out far better than we expected. It does put us in a nice cash position to take advantage of that and improves our financials a little bit at Utopia. Unfortunately, we have to do another one of these public hearings just for compliance reasons and scheduling, whatever. Just again, to Brad's point, to make sure we hit all of the requirements on this thing. We have that scheduled for December 1st. Is that right?
8:30.
At 8:30 in the morning. So we won't need the entire board, but just enough to make the motions and open and close the public hearings. And apologize. This is, I didn't share, someone to chair the meeting. So apologize. I hate throwing more and more meetings at everybody, but this is a huge benefit to the cities and something worthwhile to do. But you guys don't get paid for your service on Utopia. We really appreciate your willingness to serve and attend these meetings as we need those.
Let them know that we're meeting at 8:30 because we're closing on the bonds that day.
Oh, yeah, we're closing on the bonds on the 1st, so 8:30 sharp. Any other comments on that?
No, I want to let you know, the reason we're meeting at 8:30 instead of your typical 9 is that we're closing on the bonds that day, and we have to make sure that public hearing is, checked off before we actually close.
All right, anyways, we're trying to keep it short. I apologize, we've gone on. So
no, it was good. Good summary. Thank you also particularly to Zach and Tom for being willing to attend for us here and take care of the matter at hand. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, assuming there's no other business.
So moved. Second.
All right. Okay.
Thanks.
Motion by Zach, second by Tom. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
I guess that's 3 of us. Okay. All right. Thanks again, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, guys. Great work.
Yes, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thanks for all your hard work. This is awesome.